Okay, call to order the Historic Preservation Commission meeting, Monday, February 4th. Do we have a roll call
Joe Chappell,
here?
Lynn Bilodeau,
Here.
Patrick Kerr,
Here.
Carol McPeak, absent, James Hensley, absent, Aaron Brown, absent, Valerie Duncan.
Here.
Ed Wood,
Here.
thank you.
All right, do we have any public comments? Doesn't look like it. So we need approval of the previous minutes from the regular meeting of December 3rd, 2018, and of January 7th, 2019.
I'll move to approve.
I second.
Lynn Bilodeau,
Yes.
Patrick Kerr,
Yes.
Joe Chappell,
Yes?
Valerie Duncan.
Yes.
All right, item 4 is discussion and potential action on the proposed exterior paint at 120 South 2nd Street, which is Pioneer Picnic Tables. I have some of their work setting in my yard. Doesn't look like there's anybody here. Do we have a staff report?
Sure. So this is something that they thought was approved at a previous meeting. And when we looked in the archives, the last mention we could find for that address was in some meeting minutes from 2009. And it talks in that, I've highlighted the two items that were on that May 18th, 2009 meeting, and then a Monday, June 1st, 2009 meeting. One is for replacement of materials and the front door, but doesn't mention exterior painting or colors. The other one was for a signage request. Also, under section 12, item 10 in our HP ordinance, it talks about that any work approved shall commence within 6 months of issuance and shall be completed within 1 year of issuance. So even if it was mentioned on the exterior paint and the color, if they had not done that for a decade, it would be null and void and they would have had to reapply. Someone was supposed to be here this evening. I guess they were unable to make it. My interpretation of the color palette, and this color that they've painted it is Sundance off of our color palette. And then I also included a screenshot of what Google Street View had prior to them painting. I would say that some of the colors of our palette are meant to be accent or secondary colors, and not all should be used as primary colors.
So are you saying that you're not in favor of the color that they painted it?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Just wanted to be clear on that.
Yes, I would, staff's opinion would be to paint it a red brick color so that it blends with the two red brick buildings on either side. But I don't believe that this color should be used as a primary color for this wood facade.
This reminds me a little bit when they painted part of the, was that the Y? It was before your time. And I wasn't on the commission, but they painted a building downtown next to the vodka place. Remember
Yes.
that? They painted it white or
White.
cream or,
Painted the brick white.
the brick white.
Well, it does stand out, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's way too bright for primary. Even the off-white they had before is better than the
Yes,
yellow.
I agree.
But if they're going to be painting anyway, are they asking for permission to paint this? I thought,
Well, our code enforcement saw someone out there painting it and stopped. And by the time that happened, he was basically done, besides around the street number there that you can kind of see. So we did have them fill out an application after the fact, but most of the painting, unfortunately, had been done by that time.
Well, tell them they put a nice primer on it.
Well, and anytime you paint, in the historic district, you're supposed to, if you're doing any kind of color change, you're supposed to get specific permission to do that.
Yes.
And it wasn't done, obviously.
The
'Cause I can't
applicant,
imagine we would have, anybody on the board would have voted to approve Sundance Yellow for the whole building.
and the applicant said that Sundance was the original color, that they were just repainting the original color. But from what it was before and from Google Street View, I'm not necessarily seeing that that is a sun-faded version of the Sundance.
They're saying this was Sundance? Mm-hmm. I don't think so.
I would tend to agree with you.
I mean, it does face west, but even that, it's not gonna bake that badly.
I move to reject the color that they painted it and have them paint it another color that's approved by us.
I'll second.
Would you guys like to suggest a specific color,
I like your idea of just paint it brick color.
the brick color?
It looks like the brick on that building, well, it hasn't been painted, has it?
The brick may have been painted.
I think that brick has been
I think
painted.
it has, but up high, you can see some mortar.
Right, but it looks like on either side, but it
So
even.
they
to
ought to be
me,
able to match that pretty darn
It
close.
looks like they.
Perhaps
looks
it
like
would be
it's
better if we asked them to come back to us with a different color scheme. So
I
that if
think
there's
I
not,
agree with that.
And maybe.
And I agree with
and
that.
maybe
They ought to be able to pick their color. I mean,
yeah.
I think it would be a slam dunk if they want to paint it brick color though, because that's going to get approved.
It just, and, you know, I may be totally off here, but it just seems like to me that a lot of these, it needs, I think somehow we need to be more specific in what, you know, it could be baby blue.
Yeah.
You know, I know that, I guess one of the last buildings that was brought to us is that brick, well, it's brick colored now, but that warehouse, it's right behind your Round Top. They came in wanting to paint it baby blue. No, that was the initial request.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somewhere in between that, when they came in, if staff talked to them, they decided to paint it brick red, and it sure made a nice addition to downtown, sort of married it to, I just think we need to look at what colors are accent colors and what colors could actually be used on a facade in downtown Guthrie, because, you know, there's pink. It could have been anything. Yellow's, I like yellow better than pink, and
know-
probably better than baby blue
But also it has to be said
or
that
navy blue.
if there's trim colors, or they're going to add trim, or there's going to be a sign at some point, that could change the way that this color, as a background color, looks as well.
Right.
So I think we just need to ask them
But
to
they're
come
not
back
asking
with
for a
it.
sign yet, are they?
They haven't turned in an application for the sign, just for the exterior paint.
And I don't, have they ever had a sign other than the temporary one? I don't.
Yes,
They
there
have.
used to be.
Oh, okay. Well, I tell you what, they make great furniture. I bought some chairs from there 10 years ago, and they're as solid now, and they've been outside for 10 years, in the rain, the snow. They're as solid now as, they're worth it. They do good work.
Can we also have them paint the door?
Yeah, that probably would be nice. Okay, so, we got a vote and a second already on that, right?
Lynn, did you make the
I made the
motion?
second. Patrick
Oh,
made the
Patrick
motion.
made the motion.
I made the second. I
Okay.
think the motion was just to reject it as it is.
Okay.
But they need to come back and ask for,
And they're welcome to come back and submit some other options that we can review.
For the facade and the door.
Facade, door, trim, whatever, anything that's going on that storefront area.
Okay. All right, I'll take a vote. Patrick Kerr,
Yes.
Lynn Bilodeau,
Yes.
Joe Chappell,
Yes.
Valerie Duncan.
Yes.
All right, item number 5 is discussion and potential action on a rock sculpture in Mineral Wells Park.
Good evening. Tenny Maker, Guthrie Public Works Director. The Public Works Department, Parks Department is requesting approval to construct a rock sculpture in Mineral Wells Park. This sculpture will be kind of a rock sculpture / water type feature. Back in November, city staff installed a 3-inch line so that we could keep those ponds full at all times in the park. That's kind of when the discussion came about on how we could maybe make this look decent and not become just an eyesore. We're required by DEQ to have a air gap between the 3-inch line and the water's edge. So without just having the water running down through on the surface, we thought maybe we could incorporate some sort of rock sculpture of some sort. These are just some conceptual drawings that we had found, some photos that we had found of kind of an idea of what it would look like. Of course, we would definitely use more of a red sandstone type rock to maybe fit the area a lot more. We're kind of thinking, I believe they've included an area map also to kind of give you an idea of where we were talking about in the park. It would be at the crossing where you come through the road right there. There's currently a bench kind of setting right there. It's right by, I believe in your packet, there's a better photo maybe that shows a little bit, right there it is. That photo there, you can see a green pipe that's sticking up there kind of under that tree. So we thought right in there, there's currently the mineral well, one of the actual mineral wells right there. So we thought we'd try to incorporate it around that to where it looked like maybe that feature was producing more of the water.
So up where the green
Yes, sir.
pipe is standing?
Yes, sir.
Now,
So
is that right across that low water crossing?
directly
To the right.
across the low
Oh,
water
to the
crossing.
left is the community garden, and that's to the right.
That's to the right, yes. This area of the park is also an area of the park that is not really utilized a whole lot. There's a lone pavilion that kind of sets back over in there. This will add a amenity to that part of the park, maybe drawing some attention and get some more use to that area of the park as well.
You know, we had, when I was on the park board, not that we want to do this, but there was some discussion about that area back there being a dog park at one time, but I think it's sort of boggy back there, right?
Right now, it's kind of boggy. After the water treatment plant was constructed, it's kind of became kind of a lower area. They utilized a lot of that soil for the water
Well,
treatment
it just
plant.
made it where it wasn't conducive for a dog park because
Sure.
people don't want to get a dirty dog. But yeah, that's very attractive, I think. There's also some stone that's not really sandstone, but it's that red color. I've got some around my house.
We've checked several vendors on different rocks so we could get some larger rock. Of course, we've gathered around here locally several large sandstones. We've kind of actually placed them down there prior to us realizing that that was in the historic district. But we haven't constructed anything yet. But we're looking at purchasing some larger rock to also provide to the feature.
Well, I think it'd be nice. That, like you said, that side of the park is sort of forgotten, and there's no reason to go over there unless you want to go look at that gazebo in the back. So that would be a first step, I think, to maybe making people want to walk over there and check out
Sure.
the waterfall, and maybe with some of the new improvements that are happening.
We have, I'll say this, we have presented this to our Parks Board as well. They were all in favor as well.
My only concern with this, I think that some sort of water feature is a wonderful idea, but we don't know exactly what it's going to look like. Without some sort of plan, I think it's difficult to approve something, because we don't know what we're approving here.
Can we look at the two samples you had again, please?
My thought
I'm
was
with
maybe
Valerie.
more
I'd
toward.
like to see what they're going to build before they build it. And is this going to be like totally accessible for like people to go sit on the edges and stuff like that? That's important to know too. You know, and the liability we're
I'm
dealing
just
with.
not comfortable voting for something when I don't know exactly what it's
I mean,
going to
those
look
are
like,
two-
and there should be some sort of plan.
Those are two nice features.
Yeah,
but
those both look beautiful.
You know, unless we're getting exactly either A or B there, I think we'll end up with something like C. And I'd like to see maybe a little sketch or something.
I would imagine too, in something like this, I mean, you can sort of show what you're going to do, but it ends up being a bit organic. I mean, you're not going to know exactly which rock's going
Right.
which place.
Out of the two photos that you have, I would say probably more like the one on the left.
Are you going to be able to get that high in elevation on this flat area back here?
We're going to come in and fill up underneath that. As you've seen, the pipes that were elevated, they're elevated roughly 36 inches. So it would be the height of the little black pipe. There's a small black pipe. That is the actual 3-inch line that is stubbed up. The blue pipe that is right next to it is a pipe that we put on top of one of the mineral wells to see how high that water would actually come, just to make sure that water is still going to elevate up out of there and feed.
Because that is an artesian well.
That is one of the artesian wells right there that has the green pipe on it, yes. We wanted to make sure that water would still surface to the surface to look like it's feeding the rock sculpture.
I'd say I'm in favor of the concept. I'd just like to see maybe a proposal of what you have in mind. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate, but close enough that we have an idea of what we're going to get.
Okay.
Does that work for everybody? If that's the case, I make a motion as such.
I second it.
Patrick Kerr,
Yes?
Valerie Duncan,
Yes.
Lynn Bilodeau,
Yes.
Joe Chappell,
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to
Yeah, I do too.
disguise that as just look like natural mineral spring coming up through there and into the lake. Will it still heal me? Will it still heal me?
Staff comments. The only thing I have is a reminder that the Historic Preservation Conference is going to be in Chickasha this year, and it's going to be April 24th through the 26th. So if you all can mark your calendars or break away, it's always really informative and a good time.
Okay. Any other commissioner comments? No one? I would like us to tighten up the color palette for downtown so that we don't have anybody, you know, we need to figure out what accent colors are and what facade colors are so that we don't run into this kind of a problem in the future. Because I think if you hand somebody this, I mean, it's just a little wide open. You could literally paint any building downtown any color. Of course, I know you're supposed to come to us, but oftentimes that doesn't happen. So, All righty. I guess we're adjourned.